That night, the sky was pitch black, and the cold wind howled through the cracks in the doors, making the hospital feel even more desolate. The emergency lights cast eerie reflections on the sterile white walls, mirroring the solitude of the patients fighting their battles within. Night shift nurses and doctors exchanged quiet conversations, their footsteps echoing down the long, empty hallways. It was a night like any other, until the automatic doors at the hospital's main entrance suddenly slid open. No one paid much attention at first, assuming a patient had just arrived. But what they saw next left them speechless. A German shepherd stood at the entrance, its thick fur matted with dried mud, its deep eyes filled with exhaustion and determination. No one knew where it had come from, but clutched gently in its powerful jaws was an old bundle of cloth. The entire ER fell into a stunned silence as a brave nurse stepped forward, curiosity and caution battling within her. Carefully unwrapping the fabric, she inhaled sharply, horror washing over her. "Oh my God! It's a baby!" she gasped. In an instant, the hospital erupted into a controlled chaos. Doctors and nurses rushed in, wheeling over a gurney and medical equipment. They placed the infant on the bed, checking its pulse, respiration, and oxygen levels. The baby was so weak that every second felt like a race against time. But amidst all the commotion, the dog stood still at the entrance. It didn't bark or panic. It simply watched the baby with anxious, hopeful eyes. Eyes that told a story far deeper than anyone could have imagined. Max was no ordinary dog. He once had an owner, David, a retired veteran who had rescued and trained him from a young age. They had been inseparable, surviving together through thick and thin. Max had once pulled David from a raging fire, had thrown himself in front of an attacker to protect him. But time and illness had caught up with David, and when he could no longer care for Max, he had no choice but to let him go. On the day David passed away, Max had remained by his bedside for hours, refusing to leave. Since then, Max had wandered the streets, but his loyalty and protective instincts never faded. When he discovered the abandoned infant in an old crumbling house, he knew exactly what to do. He had carefully picked up the fragile bundle, running through dark streets, dodging speeding cars, heading toward the one place he knew could save the child, the hospital. "How did it know to bring the baby here?" a nurse whispered, her voice filled with awe. As the baby's condition stabilized, attention shifted to the dog. A police officer arrived, scanning for a microchip to identify its owner. But when the officer approached, Max took a cautious step back, not aggressive, just wary. He wasn't a stray, he was a seasoned warrior. A senior officer, recognizing this, gestured for his team to stand down. He knelt, speaking gently. "All right, buddy, show us where you found the baby." Max seemed to understand. His eyes lit up, and without hesitation, he turned and dashed out of the hospital. The officers hurried to follow. Through empty streets, down shadowy alleys, the tension grew with every step. Max moved with unwavering purpose, as if every turn and path was ingrained in his memory. Finally, he stopped in front of an abandoned house, its broken windows and rotting wood a stark reminder of despair. Flashlights cut through the darkness as the officers stepped inside. The air was thick with mildew and the scent of decaying food. In the corner of the room, a battered crib sat motionless. Beside it lay tattered baby clothes and a crumpled note with shaky handwriting. "I can't take care of my child anymore. I trust Max. Please forgive me." Max, that was the dog's name. He stood by the crib, lowering his head as if remembering the desperate mother who had placed her last hope in him. She had no one else, but she had Max. And Max had not let her down. He had risked everything, pushing through exhaustion, running through the cold night, just to save the child. The story of Max spread quickly. When the police eventually found the mother, a frail, broken woman wandering aimlessly through a park, she collapsed in sobs upon hearing her baby was alive. She clung to Max, tears soaking into his dirty fur. Max wasn't just a dog. He was a protector, a loyal friend, and most of all, a hero. His story became a testament to the unbreakable bond between humans and animals, a lesson in love, loyalty, and sacrifice. In the days that followed, as the baby regained strength and returned to his mother's arms, Max remained by their side. And no matter what the future held, one thing was certain. Max would guard this family with his life, until his very last breath.